Hello everyone, today we'll have a look at the names of the days of the week. We'll compare them to English, German, and French. So, we'll see how the days of the week look like in a Slavic, Germanic, and Romance language. That way, if you speak any language belonging to one of those groups, you should have a pretty good chance of spotting something that's already familiar. Especially when contrasting things that are similar yet different, certain things tend to stand out, almost on their own, and become easier to remember. This can help us tremendously in remembering new material, particularly vocabulary. In today's lesson, we'll focus on the names themselves. We'll have a look at how to use them in different contexts in another lesson. Okay, let's first just go over the names of the days of the week in Slovene. Ponedeljak, ponedeljak, torek, torek, sreda, sreda, četrtek, četrtek, petek, petek, sobota, sobota, nedelja, nedelja. The first thing we can point out right away is that the days of the week are not written in capital letters in Slovene like they are in English. The second thing that stands out is that many of the days of the week end in ek. Most words that end in a consonant in Slovene are masculine, and the days of the week are no exception. Nouns that end in a, however, are mostly feminine, and that holds true for sreda, sobota, and nedelja as well. This isn't important at the moment. For now, we're just dealing with the names themselves. But in a future video, we'll work on how to use them to say things like this Monday or next Tuesday. And in that case, it is important whether the name is masculine or feminine, so try to keep it in mind. We can also see that there is no day in the names of the days of the week like there is in English. In Slovene, day is dan, and as you can see, none of the names have dan in them. It's just ek for the masculine names and a for the feminine ones. Moving on, we can point out that Monday and Sunday have something in common in Slovene. This is the case in the vast majority of the Slavic languages, the exception being Russian. We'll soon find out why they're so similar. Friday or petek should look familiar as well if you know how to count to 5 in Slovene. Since all of the masculine days of the week share the final ek, just leave it out to get the individual meaning. Leaving out uk from petek, we're left with pet, which means 5 in Slovene. Okay, now on to the meaning behind the names. Let's first have a look at the meaning of the days of the week in English. The days of the week in English are named after the planets or after gods associated with a particular planet. This isn't immediately apparent for all the days of the week, but for some we can see it right away. Monday is the day of the moon. Saturday is the day of Saturn. And Sunday is the day of the sun. With other names, it isn't as apparent, and you can look up the names in an etymological dictionary if you're curious to see why. For example, Thursday is literally Thorsday, and it makes more sense once you replace Thor with Jupiter. I'm sure there are differences between Thor and Jupiter as mythological figures, but they're obviously similar enough to have been equated. So Thursday is the day of Thor or Jupiter. Okay, let's shed some light on the other days of the week as well by adding the Latin names. Monday is the day of the moon. Think of the adjective lunar or of the noun lunatic. In Slovene, the moon is called luna. Tuesday is the day of Mars. Wednesday is the day of Mercury. Thursday, as we said, is the day of Jupiter. To make the Latin name more familiar, keep in mind that Jupiter was also called Jove. Think of the English expression by Jove. Friday is the day of Venus. Saturday is the day of Saturn. And Sunday is the day of the sun. Let's put up the French and German names as well, so we can have an example of a Slavic, Germanic, and Romance language at the same time. So, if you speak English, French, and to some extent German, you can quickly see that the days of the week are in fact named after the planets. Let's mark all of the names where this is the case. As you can see, all of the Slovene names remain black. In English, the planets are obvious in Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. In French, it's pretty evident that this is the case for Monday through Friday. And in German, it can be seen in Monday and Sunday. Again, keep in mind that just because it isn't immediately apparent doesn't mean that it doesn't hold true for certain other days of the week as well. In German, Thursday is Donnerstag, for example, and Donner means thunder and is related to Thor or Jupiter. Okay, now that we've pointed out all these lovely facts for French, a Romance language, and English and German, Germanic languages, let's have a look at how the days of the week work in Slovene, a Slavic language, starting off with Sunday. In English, Sunday is the day of the sun. And in French and other Romance languages, it means the Lord's Day. In Slovene, however, along with the majority of other Slavic languages, nedelja is no work day. Sunday, or the Lord's Day, is the day of rest, hence no work day in Slovene. Let's break it down. Ne means no or not. Delati is to work. Delo is the noun work. And delavec is worker, for example. Nedelja is therefore no work day. Moving on to Monday, as we said, it obviously has something to do with Sunday. In Slovene and other Slavic languages, Monday simply means the day after Sunday, or the day after no work day. Po means after in Slovene. The word for afternoon, or in the afternoon to be exact, is popoldne, for example. We can break it down like this: po, dne, after half day. Anyway, ponedeljek is po nedeljek, or after Sunday. Moving on to Tuesday. Even though it isn't apparent even if you know the basic Slovene numerals, torek means the second day of the week. In Slovene, tu is dva or dve, depending on the gender, and second is drugi, druga or drugo, again depending on the gender. So there's nothing in tu or second that resembles torek. However, in Russian, for example, it's pretty obvious that torek means the second day of the week, and the same goes for Macedonian, another Slavic language. In Russian, Tuesday is vtornik, and second is vtaroi. In Macedonian, Tuesday is again vtornik, and second is vtor. It should be pretty obvious now that torek means the second day of the week. Let's move on to Wednesday. Sreda means the middle, or the middle day of the week. It's the same as German Mittwoch, and it's like this in other Slavic languages as well. Sreda as a noun literally means middle. In that sense, the word sredina is perhaps used more often, but they both mean the middle. The adverb sredi, for example, means in the middle of. A word that might help you remember and that made one of my students laugh is sredica. In Slovene, we think of a slice of bread as being made up of the crust, or skorja, and the middle soft part, or sredica. Sredica is used specifically in this context and is not the general word for bread. Anyway, when I checked to make sure there is no direct translation for sredica, she laughed and said, "We call that bread in English." Another useful word that can help you remember that sred has something to do with middle for all four languages is sredstvo. Sredstvo is an instrument, agent, or means of accomplishing something. It can be translated in many different ways depending on the context. It's often used in the plural, so sredstva, referring to money. It's just a more formal way of saying money, similar to the English funds, resources, or means. You'll come across sredstva very often if you watch the news. So, sredstvo is something that is in the middle of you and your goal. It's the same in English, German, and French. Means, die Mittel, or les moyens are all in the plural and refer to money. They all refer to the middle. Mean is another word for average in English, so something that is in the middle. I guess money is the universal tool of getting things done, the universal middleman, so to speak. Anyway, sredstva is literally means, die Mittel, or les moyens. To sum up, sreda means the middle day of the week, and this will be especially easy to remember for speakers of German. Četrtek means the fourth day of the week, and this is pretty obvious if you know the ordinal numerals besides the cardinal numerals in Slovene. So not only 1, 2, 3, but first, second, third, and so on. Štiri is 4, and četrti, četrta, četrto, depending on the gender of the noun, means fourth. It's pretty obvious then that četrtek is the fourth day of the week. Not much to say about petek really. If you know how to count to 5 in Slovene, then you know that pet means 5. Petek is the fifth day of the week. Let's move on to Saturday, and for that purpose, let's pull up all four languages one more time. So, we've already pointed out which days of the week are related to the planets, and they're all colored red. Notice again that the Slovene days of the week have nothing to do with the planets. However, notice as well that sobota, samedi, and zamstag are somewhat similar. Besides sreda and mittwoch, which are literally the same and mean the middle of the week, sobota is the only other day of the week that is basically the same in French and German. That's because all three words come from a Hebrew word. And that word is Shabbat. Shabbat is the day of rest in Judaism. Today most Christians consider Sunday as the day of rest, and that's evident in the French dimanche, which means the day of the Lord. However, in Judaism, the day of rest is Saturday. Well, that's pretty much it. Let's go over the names of the days of the week one more time before bringing the lesson to an end. Ponedeljek, ponedeljek. Torek, torek. Sreda, sreda. Četrtek, četrtek. Petek, petek. Sobota, sobota. Nedelja, nedelja. At this point, I think it's worth mentioning that the meanings behind the names of the days of the week are identical for the vast majority of Slavic languages. No matter if you're traveling the Balkans or talking to someone from Poland, Belarus, the Ukraine, or any other Slavic-speaking country for that matter, just ask and see for yourself that the names of the days of the week are basically all the same. Russian is an exception because in Russian you don't refer to Sunday as no work day, but rather literally call it resurrection. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the lesson and learned something new. As always, good luck, study hard, and aim for the stars.